Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're plunging into the global composite roll market.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, and we're drawing all our insights from this really in-depth report by Cognitive Market Research.
Okay.
Our mission basically is to unpack the sheer size and, the projected growth of this market.
Right.
Understand the major regional drivers and maybe spot those areas showing some surprising acceleration.
Got it. So where do we start? The big picture.
Exactly. Let's start global. So, right out of the gate, the numbers are pretty striking. In 2021, the market for these composite rolls, it was valued at $1,028.81 million US dollars.
Okay, over $1 billion.
Yeah, but here's where it gets really interesting. It's projected to surge, like really surge, to $2,590.71 million by 2033.
Wow, okay.
That's a robust compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 8% over that whole period.
That's a significant leap, isn't it?
Yeah.
8% annually for over a decade.
It really is.
These numbers, they aren't just figures on a page. I mean, they reveal some substantial industrial activity happening, a lot of potential sort of beneath the surface.
Right.
It points to a global reliance on these specialized components that, frankly, often go unnoticed.
That's a good point. And maybe before we dive into the regions, we should quickly clarify what we mean by a composite roll.
Good idea, yeah.
Because for those who might not know, we're talking about these high-performance rollers, usually made from a mix of advanced materials like carbon fiber, specialized resins.
Right, not your average rolling pin.
Definitely not. They're engineered for really specific, demanding industrial jobs, where you need lightweight, high strength, precision, resistance to wear. All that's crucial.
Exactly. Think of them as the unsung heroes in heavy industries.
Yeah.
They're essential in continuous processes like paper and pulp manufacturing, or in the precision work for steel and aluminum production, even textiles. Their ability to operate at high speeds under really extreme conditions, that's what makes them so valuable.
Yeah.
And, well, that's why we're seeing such strong market growth.
Okay, perfect context. So with that in mind, let's unpack this growth region by region, because that's where the story really unfolds, I think. It shows us not just the size, but the dynamism.
Absolutely. That's where the breakdown becomes crucial. It shows us who the established giants are and, maybe more interestingly, which regions are truly exploding. Sets the benchmark.
Okay, starting with North America.
Yeah.
A major player in 2021, recording a hefty $364.198 million.
That's all base.
Yeah, and it's forecast to reach $883.49 million by 2033. That's showing a strong CGR of 7.726%.
Pretty good growth.
And within that, the U.S., as you'd probably expect, contributed the lion's share.
Right.
Hit $293.771 million in 2021, projected for a solid 7.452% CAGR.
Okay, steady growth there. But it's interesting, though, looking deeper, does the report show variation within North America?
It does. Actually, Canada shows a slightly higher growth rate, an 8.86% CAGR. It's outpacing the U.S. rate slightly.
Huh. Any thoughts on why? What might be driving that acceleration up north?
Well, the report suggests Canada's growth going from about $50 million to a projected $135 million. It's likely boosted by specific investments. Think advanced manufacturing, maybe mining sectors.
Ah, okay. Where high-performance rolls are key.
Exactly. They're adopting them for efficiency, durability. And Mexico also shows strong growth, 8.466% annually, moving from roughly $20 million to over $61 million. Points to continued industrialization there, too.
Makes sense. So established but still growing healthily in North America.
Right. Now, moving across the Atlantic to Europe. Start at 297.349%.
Yep.
So slightly slower than North America overall, but still very strong.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here, I bet, is the distribution within Europe. While the overall growth is solid, you probably see quite a bit of variation between countries, right? Established powerhouses versus maybe some smaller, faster growers.
That's exactly it. For instance, Germany and France, they project steady growth, around 7-8%. Feels maybe more mature.
Right, the industrial heartlands.
But then you see countries like the UK and Luxembourg actually leading the pack with KGRs over 8%.
Oh, interesting. Luxembourg.
Yeah. The UK is set to grow from about $62 million to over $165 million. That's 8.365% CAGR. And Luxembourg, despite its smaller size, shows a significant 7.983% growth.
Huh. Any indication why those two specifically?
The report doesn't dive super deep into the why for each country, but it suggests strong niche manufacturing or perhaps specific sector investments driving it.
Okay. And the others? Italy, Spain.
They're seeing steady growth, mostly in the 6–7% range. Italy, Russia, Spain reflects consistent demand in their traditional industrial bases. Switzerland's a bit lower, around 6%.
Got it. So a mixed but generally strong picture in Europe.
Definitely. Okay, now let's turn our attention to Asia-Pacific. This region is truly emerging as a powerhouse.
This is where I expect things to get really interesting.
Yeah. It was valued at $219.136 million in 2021, projected to hit $600.524 million in 2033.
Wow, nearly tripling.
And boasting a strong 8.535% CAGR, noticeably higher than both North America and Europe.
Right, so if we connect this to the bigger picture, this region is clearly a primary engine for future growth in this market.
Absolutely.
It signifies a major shift, really, in global economic activity, driven by what? Rapid industrialization, urbanization. What sectors are spearheading this in Asia?
The data points to a massive expansion in manufacturing pretty much across the board.
Okay.
China, as you'd guess, leads the region, set to more than double its market from $71 million to over $200 million by 2033. That's an 8.834% CAGR.
Strong, as expected.
But the real standout,
Free.
maybe the surprise, is India.
Oh yeah, how so?
Recorded about $25 million in 2021, but it's projected to jump to almost $77 million by 2033. That gives it the region's highest CAGR, a whopping 9.661%.
9.6%. That's huge. What does that suggest? Massive new industrial capacity.
It really suggests significant investments, likely in areas like paper, textiles, metallurgy, places needing these high-performance rolls.
Makes sense. Any other hotspots in APAC?
Yeah, we also see really high growth from countries like Singapore, 9.323% CAGR,
Right.
and Southeast Asia as a whole block growing at nearly 9%. Japan and South Korea are growing steadily too, around 7.6%.
So Asia Pacific is clearly where a lot of the future momentum is.
Unquestionably. Okay, next up, South America. The market here reached $57.613 million in 2021.
Right.
Projected to reach $136.86 million in 2033 at a 7.422% CAGR.
Yes, okay, so a respectable growth rate there. Steady industrial activity, not maybe the explosive acceleration we just saw in parts of Asia, but consistent.
Exactly. Consistent is a good word. Key countries include Brazil.
Big player there usually.
Yeah, moving from about $24 million to nearly $60 million by 2033. That's a 7.816% CAGR. Argentina is also solid, from $11 million to over $27 million, 7.6% growth.
And others. Colombia, Chile.
Also solid growth, mostly around 7–8%. It suggests ongoing, if maybe more measured, industrial development across the continent compared to Asia.
Got it. Steady as she goes in South America.
Pretty much. Now, let's pivot to the Middle East. Here we're seeing some significant acceleration again.
Okay, back to higher growth.
Yeah. This market was valued at $46.296 million in 2021, projected to rise to $129.365 million in 2033.
And the CAGR.
Remarkable. 9.07%.
9%. Okay, this raises an important question. What's driving such high growth rates in regions like the Middle East? Is it just oil prices or something more fundamental?
It seems more fundamental. It points to strong industrial development, these ambitious diversification efforts we hear about.
Right, moving beyond oil.
Exactly. We're talking massive infrastructure investments, construction, manufacturing, national visions to reduce reliance on oil that directly fuels demand for components like these composite rolls and new factories, new processing plants.
That paints a much clearer picture, so it's part of a broader economic transformation.
It seems so, and Saudi Arabia is leading this regional charge.
Okay.
Moving from about $16.4 million to over $48 million by 2033. That's an impressive 9.536% CAGR.
Nearly hitting that India level of growth.
Almost. And Turkey and the UAE are also showing robust expansion, CAGRs of 8.8% and nearly 9.5% respectively.
Wow. So broad-based industrial push across the key players in the region.
Seems that way. Okay, finally, let's look at Africa.
All right. Given the trends we're seeing, I'm curious about this one.
You should be. This market was worth $44.239 million in 2021, projected to reach $136.258 million in 2033.
Okay, tripling.
Registering the highest regional CAGR of an astounding 9.933%.
Almost 10%.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's the highest regional rate we've discussed.
By far.
What's truly fascinating here is just the sheer pace of expansion. This isn't just growth. This suggests really dynamic economic shifts, rapidly burgeoning industrial bases. Maybe a foundational change in manufacturing capabilities.
It certainly looks like it, and the standout performance comes from Nigeria first. contributed nearly $22 million in 2021, projected to almost triple to $65 million by 2033. That's a 9.857% CAGR.
Very strong.
But the real showstopper is South Africa.
Oh, even higher.
Posted about $9.4 million in 2021, which isn't huge in absolute terms yet, but it's projected to reach a remarkable $30.6 million by 2033.
Okay.
With an absolutely astounding 10.44% CAGR.
10.4%. That's the highest among all countries mentioned in the entire report.
That's right, the highest single country CAGR globally. It just points to powerful domestic industrial growth happening there, or at least projected.
Incredible. What a dynamic picture globally.
Isn't it? So let's try and wrap this up. What does this all mean for you, the listener? I mean, this deep dive really shows a truly robust global growth path for composite rolls.
Yeah, to recap the key takeaways. While developed markets like North America and Europe, they maintain significant market shares, steady growth.
Right, the big bases.
The real acceleration, the really exciting story, is undeniably in emerging markets. We saw this clearly in Asia Pacific, right? Countries like India, Singapore, showing incredible HERs, driven by that rapid industrialization.
And the Middle East, too, with that diversification push.
Exactly. And perhaps most notably, the entire African continent stands out. That highest regional CAG and South Africa leading all countries in growth rate. That signals a really significant potential shift in global industrial landscapes.
It really emphasizes the dynamic nature of these global markets, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And highlights the shifts in where industrial growth is truly concentrated. It's not just about the big players today, but really watching where the fastest growth is bubbling up, often driven by these new industrial capacities, diversification.
And, you know, this exploration of composite rolls, it shows how even seemingly specialized industrial components.
Yeah, things most people never think about.
Exactly. They can point to these broader economic trends, these significant shifts in global manufacturing. It's a good reminder that growth doesn't always happen, just where you'd traditionally expect it.
That's a great point. And that leaves us with maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Okay.
Given the substantial scale of this market and its projected growth, particularly in those unexpected regions, what everyday products or industries that quietly rely on high-performance rolls might be expanding because of this underlying trend, even if we don't see the composite rolls themselves?
It's a good question to ponder. What downstream effects are happening?
Exactly. Something worth mulling over. Anyway, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.